Welcome to Lesson 6. I'm Joe and Michelle Williams, and we're continuing to try to help you get more and more out of your workbook. Lesson 6 is on secret anger and about this angry emotion. It's an emotion that we have that sometimes we don't realize that, it's an anger even that's given to us. It's a God emotion. It's one of the attributes that God has, but it needs to be used in a right way. We've been trained up in a lot of different ways to use angers, and we'll go over here in a minute. Michelle will talk about the different kind of angers that they are, but we need to use anger as righteously, so that we can build each other up, or even have that adrenaline flow through us so we can get out of a situation in the right way.
Now, you notice that we don't ask you to rate your spouse's anger in the workbook. You're supposed to rate your own, and that's because really your spouse's anger is between your spouse and God. So again, we're halfway through the workbook right now, and we're in section 2 about finding out your heart motives. But if you start shifting your focus again, and you start focusing on what your spouse is or isn't doing, then you're going to lose what we gave you that first 4 weeks. So don't forget, keep practicing on your tools from the first 4 weeks, bring them into this section of the workbook. And so we have a few more tools to give you this week. 6A is rating the way that you express your anger the most. We've listed them in the workbook as exploder, somatizer, which is the pretending like you're not angry when you really are, and self-punisher, turning your anger in on yourself, and then the underhandler. The underhandler is one that pretends they're not angry, but then kind of comes in the back door, gossips, meddles in other people's business, and is really quite cruel. Judas was an underhandler, so you want to try to catch these things also in your children. Help your children to identify their anger and to not sin in their anger. Any one of those 4 areas is sinning in your anger. And then 6B is identifying the reasons that you feel the emotion of anger, and those reasons are hurt, frustration, fear, or injustice. And of course, we all have those emotions all the time. And then tool 6C is for you to bring it to the light and say it out loud. And let me just give you an example. I always lose what? What am I always
your
looking for?
direction? Are you talking about your direction?
Well, that
That's
too.
one thing you lose.
That
what,
too.
What else?
My car keys.
Oh, your car keys.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Probably a lot of people identify with that.
I
You set them
can't
down
believe.
over here, but you go over there.
No,
That's directional too.
Okay. So I used to get really angry,
Right.
and sin in my anger. And I mean, you've all read, if you read chapter 6 in the workbook, how I shoved my fist down that wicker basket and couldn't get it out. So I really did have quite a problem with anger.
Yeah.
But now, okay, here's what I do now. I pray immediately, and then I say out loud, I'm frustrated right now because I can't find my car keys. So I get it out in the light, I admit it, I identify it, and then the next thing I do is I say, God, you know where my car keys are. Would you please show me? It helps.
And he helps.
Sometimes he shows me.
One of the things that he showed me was that we're like a potential hand grenade. Like a hand grenade is something that a soldier would use, and it's filled with black powder, and there's a fuse, and you light that fuse, and then you throw it as far away from you as possible, and then the black powder ignites and blows up. Well, we have this little pin that kind of like the hand grenade goes through our ears, straight through our head, and if we are filling up with some anger at work, or driving home from work, and we keep filling ourselves in with that black powder, and we get home and something's said, and that fuse is lit, and pretty soon we blow up. We can hurt a lot of people when we do that. So what I like to say, what God has told me, is that I need to defuse. I need to get rid of that black powder on a daily basis so that I can be used by God.
The whole purpose of this week's lesson really is to start teaching you to get things out in the light as soon as you feel it, so that you don't stuff it. Because Joe and I really, we used to stuff our anger
and then explode
badly. Yes.
Yeah.
And so then one little thing, like Joe was just saying, one little thing can set you off, and you will get so much more angry than you normally would, because you've got years or months or at least weeks piled up of stuff that you're really mad at.
It can reoccur. I mean, you can get rid of the anger one week and then have a few days where you started stuffing it, and it's like black powder, and it's sitting there, and it's just ready to explode. So we have to realize and turn the anger over to the Lord. Like he says, my yoke is light. Take my yoke, it's light, and put that upon me.
Well, one of the things that Joe and I discovered, because even after we became Christians and after we reconciled our own marriage, we were still struggling in this area. I think probably if we were going to spend a lot of time on a chapter, it would be chapter 6. Mm-hmm. And that is because anger really almost destroyed our marriage. And so we struggled trying to find the solution to anger. And so right now we're going to take just a couple minute break because we want to give you the secret that we found. And so we want you to look up Ephesians 4:25 through 27. We want you to talk about that at your table for just about 2 minutes and see if you can find the key to not letting the sun go down in your anger in that verse. And we'll come back in just a couple minutes here. Okay, so did you find that key? This is what we discovered. Paul provides the answer to sinning and our anger. What I had been doing was ignoring the emotion of anger when I was stuffing what I was really feeling, and I wasn't bringing it to the light. And every time I would feel the emotion of anger, I would stuff it, and I didn't realize that anger could be my friend. And when Paul says that, therefore, take off all falsehood and speak truthfully to one another, that is the solution right there. Mm-hmm. And so as we begin in preparing you for next week's lesson in honesty, what we want you to understand is that is absolutely the key to getting rid mm-hmm. of sinning in your anger. You've got to identify it, bring it out to the light, and then that verse comes alive. Therefore, right. Take off all falsehood, speak truthfully so that the sun won't go down in your anger and the devil won't have a foothold.
Right. And he's the one that wants that black powder there so that you'll blow up and, mm-hmm. and you have this argument. So it's going to take practice. So this is something that you got to practice. So start practicing now, and of course we're going to, see you in this next lesson, and we're going to just, leave it up to the Lord to deal with you in this respect and realize that he is, something's happening here. If we can do it, you can do it. And that's mm-hmm. part of the truth that we want to get across. If Joe and Michelle can do it, mm-hmm. you can do it.
Just trust us on this. The tools in this week, 7 and 8, will revolutionize all your relationships, not just your marriage. So do your best, read the chapters in Yes, Your Marriage Can Be Saved and in your workbook. Do your lessons because we really want you to get this. We'll be praying for you this week.
So we just want to say, thank you again for staying with us through these few lessons, and we'll see you coming up on lesson 7.